Hi everybody. In the previous video we've set the scene for this changing of migrated patterns discussion and made a small rename refactoring. In this video let's attack the core issue. So we can see here that to insert a shipper, update a shipper and delete a shipper, we have these three inner classes. And let's start with the last one. Okay. The only way to delete a row in Magic was to create a subtask which were migrated to an inner class. This means that we have over here some, how many rows? 30, 40, 30 rows, 30 lines of code to do something as simple as delete. So let's go ahead and replace that with better code that we can write in .NET. So let's follow, I'm using the icon over here to split the code to two areas in the code. Let's go to the delete handler. Let's put a breakpoint here to see what actually happens. So when we run our code, and let's say we're going to add a few shippers for the fun, so we'll have some to delete. And now if we click delete, we can see that it arrives to the delete shipper handler. Okay. And it calls the delete shipper inner class. Great. So let's change that. Now all the delete shipper inner class does is define the table, set it as the main, as the from of this controller, defines the web, the where, and defined itself as a delete task here. Now a lot of things in this code, let's just review it for a second. A lot of these things in this code are not important, they're just there because they existed in the original code. Order by, we don't care about it when we delete. Allow row locking, we don't care about it when we delete. Row locking, transaction scope, allow user abort, all of these we don't really care about, okay, when we just want to delete. So let me show you the quickest way of deleting a row. Let's just copy the definition of the table and scroll up to where we want it. And instead of calling the delete shippers inner class, we're going to say var shippers equals new shippers, and we say shippers dot delete, where shippers dot shipper ID is equal to our shipper ID. Okay, which we can again see in our columns, shipper ID. Perfect. That's it. These two lines of code pretty much replace and remove anything that the delete shippers class does. So let's go ahead and delete it. And voila. Great. So we've just eliminated 30 something lines of code from our code. Let's see that it runs. We'll click delete, and the row was actually deleted. We'll do the same for 5, and the row again was actually deleted. Great. So to delete a row, instead of creating an inner class and everything, all we need to do is write these two lines. Define the table we want to use and say entity.delete and the range of records that we want to delete. By the way, underneath the hood, this is more efficient because it will generate a delete statement to the SQL server that will not delete row by row. Okay, the inner class will generate a select statement and a delete statement, and this one will just generate a delete statement. So just to recap, let's review the changes that we've done. We replaced the call to the inner class with these two lines of code and completely removed the inner class. Great. With entity.delete. Great. Now let's do the same for the other scenarios that we have. Next one that we have is insert. So again, in Magic, the way to insert was to create a subtask that would insert or a link that would insert. All of these were more complex, whereas here we can simply say the same, shippers, and then say shippers.insert, and we'll send it a lambda with the values that we want to set. Okay, now what I'm going to do again, I'm going to open this little scroll bar so we can copy from the original insert inner class. I'll take the only row here. I see here that it's updating like this. I will copy this code from here into our lambda, okay, and remove the parent reference because we are no longer in the inner class, we are in the actual class, so we no longer need the parent reference. Great. Let's delete our inner class. Insert. Cool. Let's run it and test that it works. Insert. And when we look, we can see that the row was inserted using the new functionality, and delete will delete the row. Let's review the changes we've done. Great. So instead of calling the inner class, we've defined the entity, said entity.insert, and within the lambda, we defined the values that we want to set. And with these 5 lines of code, we were able, or 6 lines of code, we were able to remove all of these lines of code. Quite a few lines of code that we'll no longer need. 40-something lines of code that we were able to remove just by this very simple refactoring. Great. So let's commit this. Replace inner insert class with entity.insert. Great. Great. Now let's go for update. More of the same. So again, we're going to define the shippers, and we're going to say shippers.update. Now, update receives 2 parameters. Where, which means which shipper do we want to update. Let's take the one from over here. And what do we want to update there? Which, surprisingly enough, we can copy from our insert. We're going to set the company name and the phone number. Great. So now we no longer need the update shipper inner class. Let's run this, see that it works. So I'm going to insert a new shipper. We can see that it exists. Let's update it. We can see that it's updated. And let's delete it. Great. Let's see the changes that we've done. We replace the call to the inner controller with defining again the shipper tables that we want to work with, saying update, the where, and the values that we want to set within a lambda definition. Perfect. And for these 5 lines, we were able to delete all of these lines. Cool. So let's commit this and say replace update inner class with entity.update. Great. So this is just a short example on how we can use a simple method like delete, update, or insert, simple entity methods, to delete, update, and insert rows. And just like there's delete, insert, and update, there are siblings to those called insert if not found, okay, which works exactly the same. It will insert a row only if that row doesn't exist with the where definition. There is also count and sum and min and max that save you the trouble of doing many common operations. And there's also, of course, get value, that allows you to get a value cache and everything, which we use a lot in refactorings. Great, thanks for watching. In the next video, we're going to handle notify row was found.